And this next In Your World with photojournalist Dan Munt, he takes a look at a local man who builds some unique underwater vehicles, also known as submarines.
February 17, 1864. History's first submarine attack is underway. Flash forward to the present, and the Confederate submarine H.L. Hunley is cruising beneath the waves once again. This time, however, it is in a swimming pool in South St. Paul. This version of the Hunley is a scale model, built by radio-controlled submarine enthusiast Tim Smalley.
I always liked submarines anyway since I was a little kid, and I thought, gee, I wonder if there's such a thing as radio-controlled submarines. So I did an internet search, and up popped subcommittee.com, and I got interested in it and bought my first model and started building them and went to the annual sub regatta, they call it, and basically got hooked. So I've been doing it for the last 6-7 years.
Tim's miniature H.L. Hunley is a reproduction of the innovative warship built toward the end of the Civil War.
The Hunley was actually it was a weapon of desperation built by the Confederates back in 1863, 1864. The Union had pretty much put a stranglehold on the whole southern coast. So a guy named Horace Hunley built this submarine, took a locomotive boiler, cut it in half, made it a little wider, and put controls on it and conning towers. 7 men sat along a crankshaft and turned this crank to make the propeller go. And there was one officer up front who steered the sub and dove it and piloted it out to meet the enemy.
On that fateful night in 1864, the H.L. Hunley met the enemy off the coast of Charleston, South Carolina. Though the mission was successful and a Union warship was sunk, the Hunley never returned. The remains of the submarine and her crew were discovered in 1995, and this is when Tim Smalley's project began.
When I heard that they had actually discovered the Hunley, I found as many photographs and drew up some plans myself, and I carved the hull out of styrofoam, coated it with fiberglass, and then took out the styrofoam so it was just the fiberglass hull, and put the electronics all together and so on. In this plastic tube is a 12-volt rechargeable battery, just a gel cell nickel metal hydride battery. In this plastic tube is an air pump that inflates this rubber bag. Actually, this is the cuff out of a blood pressure machine, and there's also a device in there that lets the air out. So I blow it up to make the sub go up. I deflate the rubber bag to make the sub go down, submerge. It took about 1.5 years to build, and it's still under construction. There's always something to change or fix on it.
The Hunley miniature reproduces all of the details of the real submarine, including the rudder, diving planes, and snorkel device. His attention to authenticity has not gone unnoticed. The Discovery Science Channel hired Tim to construct a working miniature of the USS Alligator for a television documentary about a submarine built by the Union in 1862.
Lincoln actually saw the thing demonstrated. Unfortunately, it was lost being towed down to Charleston, so it never saw action, but it was fun building that model.
And fun is what the RC submarine hobby is all about.
There's basically a worldwide group of about 1,000 people, men and women, mostly guys though, it's a kind of a guy thing, that build radio-controlled model submarines. Everything from very small foot or smaller size models to 10-foot or larger working radio-controlled submarines that dive and surface and shoot torpedoes and everything. It's a lot of fun.
Tim's workshop is where he brings his submarines to life. The shelves are loaded with the reference materials needed to make the miniatures accurate and with the construction materials needed to build these submarines from scratch. But he says the process is not as complicated as you might imagine.
If you can solder, if you can glue things, and the most important thing is patience. You've got to have patience and a few basic hand tool and gluing skills, and I would say it's not that hard.
If you'd like to become the skipper of your own submarine, you're just a mouse click away.
Go to the subcommittee website, which is subcommittee.com, and click on Contact Us, and my email address is there, and they can email me.
In the meantime, Tim will be piloting his own craft of the deep and not so deep seas. For Inside 7, I'm Dan Munt.